Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel for the next episode in the My Team series. Today I'm joined by yet another former FPL winner. Jonas won Fantasy Premier League 2 years ago. A pleasure to have you back on the channel, mate. We've done a lot of videos together, so it's good to see your face again. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's very nice being back on. I've enjoyed the nice FPL free summer, and then I'm ready to go back into it now. How about you, Jack?
I'm good. Yeah, I feel like I'm close to having my team locked in, or at least the structure of it locked in. I don't really know where you are with this. I know you haven't spent loads of time thinking about your team from the time that the game was released, and maybe have only started thinking about it really seriously the past few days or so, which is what I kind of do as well. But you've got a team, and yeah, you were just telling me off camera that a few of the players aren't 100% yet, but you know, some of them are very certain. As always, we are going to be building Jonas's team on Fantasy Football Hub's My Team tool, which is going to give him a team rating at the end, and then we can compare his team to the other winners we've had on the channel and all the other guests, and also all of your guys' teams as well. You can get your team rated for free. Link is down in the description. And if you don't want to put in your players manually like we're going to do in this video, you can very simply just upload a screenshot of your team onto Fantasy Football Hub and get your team rated in seconds. Jonas, before we get into it, just want to timestamp this video. This is Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening after the Community Shield, which you've just watched. I want to hear your thoughts on that game as a Liverpool fan, and just what you've taken from that game as from a fantasy perspective.
Well, I try to not think too much about preseason and stuff like that, especially the performances. But Liverpool were good in the first half. Ekitike got a really nice goal after just about 4 or 5 minutes, and we looked solid. But then in the second half, Palace just took over, and then during the penalties, Palace just absolutely smashed us. As a Liverpool fan, of course.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, let's get into it. I'm sure that there'll be at least one Liverpool player in your team that we can talk about, but let's start with the goalkeepers.
All right. So in goal, I've gone for Robert Sanchez and everyone's favorite 4.0 goalkeeper, Dubravka.
Of course. Why have you gone for Sanchez?
Well, Sanchez and I think Sanchez has gained his spot back. We saw Jurgensen play a bit last season, but after a good Club World Cup and Jurgensen probably failing to impress anyone, I think Sanchez will be playing. Chelsea have got like a decent start. He's fairly nice priced at 5.0, and I think Chelsea will be better defensively this season.
Yep, makes sense. Let's move into the defense then. Who have you got?
All right. In defense, I have Virgil van Dijk, Nico Williams, Pedro Porro, and I've gone with Anderson from Fulham.
Okay.
And the last one is Esteve from Burnley.
Okay.
So double Burnley defense, actually, with Dubravka.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I mean, I'm going to ask you about potential chip strategy at the end of the video when we've built your team, but yeah, that could come in handy. Van Dijk, how was the Liverpool defense today? Because everyone is sort of saying that, you know, they look amazing going forward, but perhaps a little bit leaky now with, yeah, more attacking fullbacks, or at least, you know, with a player like Frimpong, a flying fullback. You know, is there more of an emphasis on attacking, do you think, compared to last year? Do you think that might be an issue for them defensively?
Well, to begin with, we can take last year. At the beginning of the season, I think Liverpool looked very, very solid, much more solid than we ever looked under Jurgen Klopp. And then after we won the league, we were a mess, but that's fair enough. Let the players rest and get their holiday and stuff like that. And today's game against Crystal Palace, it looked like there was much space between Van Dijk and Kirkis, the left back. And Palace utilized that very well and got a goal from that. So I do think Liverpool's starting fixtures, they're not the best, with Newcastle and Arsenal both in the first 3 game weeks. But I do think long-term Van Dijk will be 100% nailed. He will get some defensive contributions every now and then. And I still think Liverpool are a top 2-3 defense in the league. I could have gone, for example, Gabriel, but I think their fixtures are just worse than Liverpool's. And I like the price point at 6.0, where you could get to anyone else you would want. So he's not one of the defenders that's completely nailed in my draft, but he does look pretty secure as of now.
Sure. And then Nico Williams is the defender you mentioned next.
Yeah.
Why have you
Nico-
gone for him? I mean, it makes sense, I think, to have a Forest defender or some sort of coverage, but why him at that slightly cheaper price?
Well, people have talked about both Milenkovic and Murillo. Murillo, very good for defensive contributions. Milenkovic, the most attacking threat, and Nico Williams seems to be somewhere in the middle. He's a good fullback for defensive contributions, and he's good for, or at least decent for attacking threat as well. I do have in this draft, spoiler, but I do have zero point 0.5 left in my
Oh,
draft
wow. Okay.
bank. So I could upgrade him to Murillo, for example, if I would want to. Guess I just have to monitor the Leaf Davis situation and see if he's actually coming to Forest. But Aina hasn't played much in preseason. I think I read somewhere that he got 60 minutes or something in total. So I
Okay.
do think at least for the first few, Nico Williams should be nailed. Yeah, I do like him. I think he's like in between both Murillo and Milenkovic, somewhere with both having attacking threat and defensive contributions as a fullback.
And then Pedro Porro is next. Do you expect him to be as attacking as he has been in the past, despite the change in manager? So what's the reasoning for him?
Well, Pedro Porro is also a fullback that's all right enough at the defensive contributions. There, I could bench him in game week 2 against City, and apart from that, their fixtures are very nice actually. Where you have Burnley at home, Bournemouth home, West Ham away, Brighton away, Wolves home, Leeds away in the first 7.
Yeah, strong.
So they do have nice fixtures, and he does have the attacking threat. I think he won't be as offensive because you won't have the Ange football where you're very high pressing and stuff like that. But I still think he will be offensive, and I also think Spurs will be a more solid defensive team under Frank than they were under Ange.
Okay. We don't need to talk too much about Estev. I think that's how you pronounce his name because I think he's going to be in the vast majority of people's teams. I think he is the best at that 4 million price. Let's just have a look at what Fantasy Football Hub's predicted points are saying. Reynildo is close. I don't know. I think Burnley were a very good defense last year, so I personally would go for him. And again, we'll talk about game week 2 perhaps in a little bit.
Yeah.
Anderson is your last defender though. Why have you gone for him?
I like him as a 4.5 defender. His fixtures aren't exactly the best, but he will play everything. Fulham is also a decent team. They're not very easy to meet. And if you ignore Chelsea and United, who I think might be tough games for them defensively, maybe not United, but at least Chelsea, I think their fixtures are all right. And as a 4.5 defender, my main 3 defenders will obviously be Virgil, Williams, and Porro. So he will be riding the bench most of the time, but I think he can come in handy every now and then.
I've just looked at this and I've sorted over on the right hand side all players that are under, less than 5 million and their predicted points for the first 4 game weeks. And Tossin's actually at the top. Anderson is fifth, which Anderson is in my team right now. But I think this is one of the reasons why I really like Fantasy Football Hub is that I hadn't thought about this, and even as a Chelsea fan, but obviously with Colwill's ACL injury, which is going to be out for the majority of the season now, does that potentially open the door for someone like Tossin? I don't know what price is Chalobah. He's 5 million, okay, because I guess he started more games. I wonder, would you take a risk with someone like a Tossin over an Anderson who is going to be there week in, week out?
I think I've learned my lesson with Kwanzaa last season.
Yeah, okay.
But no, the other 3 ahead of Anderson, between Tossin and Anderson, I think you have Richard and Gehi. Gehi might be leaving. We don't know. Richard,
you hope he is, don't you?
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard also. I know Palace are after a center back, and I think that might be in Richard's position. So
Okay.
So I do think Anderson is a solid choice amongst the 4.5. Although you never know, it could be anyone. It could be like Dorgu from Man United, who's been looking all right in preseason, from what I've read.
Let's see what his predicted points are. A bit lower at 13. 2.9 does seem a little low. Yeah, I think this might be because he's not 100% nailed. As in Fantasy Football Hub can't say he's 100% nailed, but I think a lot of United fans would say that he is.
Yeah.
Who knows? We have to wait and see.
And then again, their starting fixtures aren't the best either. So, but I do think at one point in the season I will own him.
Yeah,
but just not right now.
Okay, let's get into the midfielders. Who have you gone with?
All right. We can start with Salah and Palmer. Don't need too much explanation, I think.
Sure.
Uh, then I've gone with Bruno, Iliman and Jai from Everton, and last but not least, Anderson from Forest. Pretty standard.
Okay. This, I would say, is very close to the template midfield. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but it's currently my midfield. I've got Verts in over Fernandez,
Mhm,
but it looks like it's a very strong midfield, and I think I think most people watching this would understand the reasons for every player being in there.
mhm.
How tempted are you, or how locked in is this midfield? Is
Well,
are some of the players a little bit more up for debate?
for me right now, it's only Salah and Palmer that's
Okay.
100 locked. And Jai could well be like Mitoma. He could be someone like Sar, who looked excellent today against Liverpool. And then Anderson, I do, as I said earlier, I do have 0.5 in the bank. So he could be someone like Paquetá, for example, who I think could be a really interesting choice.
Ooh, good shout.
But we have Tielemans as well. Like they could be a lot of people, both Anderson and Njai. And I do like the price point of Bruno at 9.0, where you could get to everyone else for 0.5 cheaper.
That's a very good point, actually.
But
Yeah,
like,
because quite a few players around there that yeah, you could definitely see yourself going to if they start the season well.
yeah. And I do suspect Bruno will play a deeper role now with both Kuna and Mbuemo coming into the team, but that might just strengthen his defensive contribution points. So I don't think that necessarily is a really bad thing for Bruno as a pick. He will still have penalties and lots of set pieces. It's just the threat in open play that might be a bit worse.
Let's talk a little bit more in depth about budget midfielders
Mhm.
because I think Bruno versus Verts is close. What's Bruno's ownership? 15%. So it's quite a lot less than Verts's, but I understand the reasons for going with either of those two.
Mhm.
Budget midfielders, though, you mentioned Saar. There are like lots of options. I don't think any of them are necessarily complete standouts. You can sort of see by the predicted points here that yeah, like there's like one predicted point separating the top.
Yeah.
Well, how many is that? 8 or 9 midfielders. I want to ask you about Dewsbury Hall,
Mhm.
who may well be an option now. I also want to ask you about Reinders, who looked amazing in a friendly yesterday, like crashing the box, scoring 2 goals. Have you thought about these sort of new players? Because we've had players like Anderson. Well, I have had players like Anderson and Jai in my team sort of since the game launched. I don't know if it's just the case now of getting a bit bored of seeing them in my team, but I'm getting tempted by the likes of Reinders, Saar as well, and Dewsbury Hall.
Yeah. We could start with Dewsbury Hall. I think he played as the 10 last preseason game for Everton. Did have some set pieces as well. And at 5.0, he could be a really good choice. He was a decent midfielder at Leicester as well. Haven't played much at Chelsea, but I do like him. But I'm not overly convinced just yet. I'll just have to see more of him, I think.
Okay.
And then you didn't tell me about Harry Wilson, but apparently he has played a lot in preseason, so he could be interesting him as well. And he's got a really good left foot. I remember him. Well, that was years ago, but smashing in some free kicks in preseason and stuff for Liverpool,
Yeah.
and while at loan as well.
Okay. And then anything on? Well, you mentioned Saar already looking dangerous. What about Reinders? I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen
Yeah.
the? What do you think about that?
Well, Reinders, I think, can be a good choice as long as you're confident enough in his minutes. If he's playing, I don't know where he's playing, but I think him and Shirky played 45 minutes each in the 10 position. So if he will be playing as
Okay.
the 10 or maybe as the box crashing 8, he could be a really good option. But it just depends how confident you are in his minutes. And I'm not sure I'm too confident in his minutes as of now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the same as that. That's the problem, isn't it? You just like I don't know. I got so excited watching that preseason game, but yeah. Also, it's important to note that Haaland and Marmoush weren't on the pitch when he was making those like runs. It sort of felt like he was having to be the false nine as well. I don't know how often that's gonna be the case in the Premier League, but yeah.
No. But I do think he can play all three midfield positions for City.
Okay.
So I suppose we'll have to monitor Rodri as well and see how his fitness is. Because if he's going to play the 6, I think that makes him a much worse option.
Yeah.
But if Rodri is fit and he's playing in more like the Gundogan role, for example, I think he could be a really good pick.
This is what I've been thinking. We've had that when Gundogan was in that role for City, how many years ago now was it? 3 or 4, where he just seemed to score in back to back to back to back games, and it was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That value, I think he was priced at something like 5.5 or something, maybe 6, but that value was just unbelievable. And yeah, he was such an important player for them in that period. I can definitely see Reinders stepping up at some point. I didn't know too much about him, but he's clearly very, very technical, and yeah, he's a decent goal scorer. I know he got quite a few goal contributions last year in the Serie A. Do you know much about his potential for defensive contributions?
No, I really haven't looked too much about it, but I do think he'll. I don't think it's 2 points per season we're talking with defensive contributions for him. I think it will be a bit more, but not like don't expect it every game.
No.
But I think he'll be able to reach that 12 mark a few times, as long as he's playing 90 though, because that does help.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I'm not sure if he will. I think I would put his minutes around like somewhere between 60 and 70.
Yeah, same. And I think that actually that is sort of what we have at Fantasy Football Hub. That's why his points aren't potentially as high as what you may expect, just because minutes and the lack of minutes does absolutely impact someone's potential for points. Of course, you can probably tell, guys, that I'm quite excited by the potential of Reinders. We've spent about 3 minutes talking about him just because of me. Sorry,
But
Jonas.
but if you're comparing him to Anderson, he is a much more exciting pick.
Yeah,
He
he's
does have
fun,
a much
isn't he?
higher upside.
Yeah. I think I am an Anderson type manager
Yeah.
anyway, but Reinders could be fun.
Well, I can't go with both Tossin and Reinders.
No.
That would be the new Kwanzaa and then Kunku then.
Oh wow, that was some gaming one last year, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get into the forwards then and finish this team off.
All right. Firstly, Watkins, and then I have Thiago from Brentford.
Okay,
Lastly, everyone's favorite 4.5. Yeah, you could already guess.
had to be in there, of course.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Watkins. Interestingly, before we started recording, you said that Watkins wasn't one of the players who was 100% locked in your team. So
Not at
why is
all.
that?
Well, if I'm going away from Watkins, well, the main reason I have him right now is because I really don't like the forward pool. I don't think there's too many good forwards as of now. You have players like Isak who no one knows what's up. Gyökeres, no idea. Ekitike, maybe not safe enough for minutes. Wood hasn't played a lot in preseason, I think, in not great form. Bowen, I'm not really a huge fan of as a 8.0 attacker. Jao Pedro, not convinced either. Raul minutes and Solanke fitness. If it wasn't for Solanke's fitness, I think he would have been 100% nailed in my team. But due to his fitness and we're unsure about how it is, I'm swaying away as of now.
Yeah, his ownership has definitely dropped a lot from a couple of weeks ago. 10% now is low for someone that I think would be in a lot of teams if it wasn't for those doubts.
Yeah, and if I wasn't going with Watkins now, I would probably downgrade him to someone and then upgrade a midfielder to Verts. That would be
Okay.
my like replacement for Watkins, as I don't think there are many good forwards at that price point.
Now, Gui makes a lot of sense to me. Of course, he's in my team. I think he should be in the vast majority of people's teams if they are playing with just 2 or fewer forwards. Thiago is one, though, that Big Man Bakar, for example, is a big fan of this guy. Seen a lot of love for him on Twitter as well. Why have you gone for him?
It seems like Wissa is bound for Newcastle right now, and then Thiago is their only other striker left. They are after Dango from Bournemouth, I've seen, but I think Thiago will start. It is a bit of a risk as he hasn't played much for Brentford whatsoever. We've barely seen him play in the Premier League due to him getting injured. Like I think it was in preseason last season or something. So he's a bit of a risk, but then again, I do have the 0.5 where I could go to someone like Strand Larson, for example, who is much more safe. He probably will be taking penalties as well. So I have a bit of flexibility here in my draft with the 0.5 that I could use in both my midfield, attack, and defense. I think I do like Thiago a lot, but it's a bit of a gamble as we haven't seen him too much.
Yeah, That's
But
kind of my thinking. I'm not sure on him. I've said this in a few videos, but who am I to say anything when I'm sat here with the winner of 2 years ago? Yeah, sorry, I just probably shouldn't be talking. Anyway, this is your team. Now you might be looking at this team rating, thinking that seems a bit low. I've not clicked optimize yet. I will now do that, and that's going to put in the players in the correct positions in terms of bench order. Although, interestingly, Anderson has higher predicted points than Thiago, game week 1. Would you play Anderson? Surely not.
No, Thiago.
All right, so I'll do that to get a fair reflection on the team. Captain would be Salah?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, 95%. That's very good. 66.4 predicted points. Very, very strong. I expect nothing less, but yeah, I mean, there are some very good players in here. And once again, I am still bottom of the leaderboard of all guests that we've had on the channel so far, but that is very strong. That actually puts you second, Jonas, ahead of last year's winner, Lovro. So you've got to be pretty happy about that. Yeah, ahead of last year's winner, just on predicted points for game week 1, the same team rating percentage. Behind Rich Clark, but 95% is very, very good. Should we see if we can make any slight improvements? I don't know if there'll be any that are possible, but might as well have a look.
Well, I do have the extra 0.5, so
oh, good point.
Always a possibility for some changes and
good
upgrades.
Point. Yeah. Okay, so if you were to spend that 0.5, as you just said, what do you reckon you would do, Jonas?
I think it would either be Nico Williams to someone like Murillo, or it could be Thiago to Strand Larsen as well. Or Anderson to Paqueta. But seeing Paqueta wasn't that highly rated on the AI, and I want the highest.
I think Paqueta probably would. Well, he's not too far away from Anderson, but yeah, I would recommend one of the others, I think.
Go Nico to Murillo.
Okay, we will do that. So Williams is out and Murillo is in. He's not a midfielder. I will save that. We'll make the transfers first, optimize the team, save the plan. We'll put Thiago back in for Anderson. Save that, and then let's see what that's done. It has improved it. It has improved it. Wow. 96%. And that would actually have taken you top.
That would have. Oof.
Yeah, it would have done. It would have taken you above Rich Clark because you have more predicted points.
Right.
But again, it's like, do you want to go all in on that, or do you want the flexibility?
As of now, I do think I'm happy enough with Nico. And I will probably change some things in my draft, but we've already discussed a few potential paths earlier.
I'll reverse that because of what you just said. But yeah, I've not seen that before where you haven't actually had a recommended transfer. That's pretty ridiculous. As I said, guys, get in the comments down below. What are your recommended transfers? I'm interested to hear what it is for your team. As you can see at the top of the screen right now, if you sign up to Fantasy Football Hub, it's currently 50% off. And if you want to see your personalized AI recommended transfers, then that is the thing to do. Link is down below. Also, we're still running our insane offer. If you don't win your mini league this season, you will get your whole membership refunded to you. That is how confident we are that if you sign up to Fantasy Football Hub, then you'll win at FPL. Simple as that. Last question for you, Jonas.
Yep.
Double the chips this year. What are you thinking with that?
Well, first and foremost, I'm not a fan of the double chips. Okay. I don't think they should increase the variance in this game. I think they should decrease it, if anything. But anyways, we can't do anything about that. Triple captain and free hit doesn't require too much planning. It's rather the bench boost, and that's what people are talking about as well. I do think early bench boost could be viable, like game week 1 or game week 2 are those game weeks I've actually seen people talk about. I think that because we get the extra 5 transfers during AFCON, and we have the wild card, we have the free hit, whatever, I do think it will be pretty doable to do it either right before or right after the extra 5 AFCON transfers. You can just wild card out of it or into it or whatever. Let's say you wild card into it, and is it game week 15 we get the extra
I think transfers? It's 16. I think 16 is where you get them. I'm not sure, but it's around then, yeah.
Whatever. Let's say you get you wildcard into a team in game week 14, and then you plan to bench boost in game week 15, and then you get the 5 extra transfers in 16. You could offload pretty easily on bench boost.
I've
And
not had anyone think of that. That's a very good idea. I was just going to go to your team for game week 2 and then show you the bench. If I click optimize there, like that's a pretty strong bench that you'd have. Like
it is.
Estev is in the team even. That's how good his fixture is. Dubravka too is in the team. That's how much the AI sort of rates the Sunderland at home fixture. So
Mhm.
your worst player there is Gooey away at Burnley.
I do think I want to have the option of going bench boost in game week 2, such as I do with this team.
Yeah,
And then if we know Guyu isn't playing or Thiago's mins, we don't know about his minutes, something about whoever in the team, I could just go away from it because it's not the end of the world to not bench boost exactly this team here in game week 2.
true.
That's my thinking. So I do have the option of game week 2 bench boost, and then I probably will wait later and until around AFCON or something.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So there we go. That is your team. I also do just want to mention, like, we were speaking about this before we started recording, but being able to go and flick through, the team on Fantasy Football Hub week by week, I think is so useful because if we come over to this absolute abomination of a website, which we were talking about before we sort of got started, what have they done to the UI? On the official site, I just don't like. It doesn't give me any joy to build my team on this. It's a bit
No,
annoying. I don't know what you think about it.
me
But
neither. I'm not a fan. Like, if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
I know.
And UI was fine how it was before, so I don't
Yeah,
really see why they felt like they had to change it. And I don't think I've seen anyone say they like really like it and think it's much better.
I think it's much worse. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think most would agree with you there.
well, I think that is just a good thing for Fantasy Football Hub because more people like you guys are watching will I think will rather build your team on here and then just do the last bit on FPL where you have to actually officially submit your team. But yeah, it's also
Yeah.
crazy to me that FPL doesn't still let you flick through your team in future game weeks. Like I can only look at my team for one game week and then I can't. It's like if I want a bench boost in game week 2 or game week 4 or game week 8, I have no idea how that's going to look. I have to like do it myself. But I'm a pretty visual person, so I like being able to actually like see it like we can with game week 2 and see, okay, interesting. Estev and Dubravka have actually been put in the 11. That is how good their fixture is. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm waffling on. If you guys want to do that, link down below. It's free, as I said. Jonas, thank you very much, mate, for coming back on the channel. I really like your team.
Sure.
Strong team rating. Best of luck this season. But how does it feel like now that you've won it pretty recently as well? You're never going to usurp that, but what's your target for this year?
Um, Probably the same as last season, where I don't really put a target, and I'll just play my way and see how it goes. I'm not really bothered, but of course, I wouldn't mind a good finish.
Someone at some point may win the game twice. It's very unlikely, but you never know.
You never
You
know.
never
I
know.
think it's really unlikely,
The
but
odds on that must be crazy.
the
Yeah.
odds of winning just once is crazy.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Anyway, mate, thank you very much as always. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did and you want to go and check out the rest of our guests' team ratings and team reveals, got a playlist on screen. Where is it? Like there. And then if you want to get your team rated, click this as well. And yeah, let me know in the comments how you did.